So this time the session includes mountain climbers, burpees, squat thrust and flutter kicks. Again, I've changed the activities to prevent tedium as much as possible. I know the fact that it is a plyometric and that it is high intensity interval training. I know that the actual type of training isn't changing at all. However, I feel that changing the actual content of the sessions and the activities he'll be doing is enough of a change to make it refreshing and exciting and something that he can look forward to. And again, this high intensity interval training he'll be working at approximately 80 to 90% of his maximum heart rate. I don't think I mentioned before, but I will obviously have a heart rate monitor on him so that I can measure that and make sure that he is working in that training zone, as I'd like him to be working anaerobically and using the same energy system of anaerobic glycolysis when he trains, so that it's replicative of the training zone he'll be working in as he makes sprints in rugby, because his position is very specific to having to sprint down the wing, as he's a wide player, so he will have to make those sprints and try and run for tries during rugby, which is the main purpose of this whole programme, is to focus on that and focus on increasing his power in his legs through plyometric training and decreasing the amount of weight on him through high intensity interval training, and combining that so that he has a high percentage of muscle mass and a low percentage of fat, so that he's agile and quick when sprinting past his opposition, giving him an advantage, of course. So obviously there could be issues that arise during the session, so perhaps a lack of space on the day, perhaps in the gym or in the sports hall. So I have to think of alternatives just in case. So my alternative warm-up is, if there's a lack of space or equipment in week 1, for example, I'd change the warm-up to a jog at 60% speed on the spot for 1 minute, and then he'll do high knees on the spot for 20 seconds and heel flicks on the spot for 20 seconds. Then he'll walk along the width of the area, lunging every 3 steps, and then he'll do the same but sweep the floor, which is a calf stretch. Then he will do a lunge twist as he walks along, then open the gate, then close the gate, then arm swings. So you can see that it stretches the same muscle groups, but it simply uses the space that is provided. So no matter what the width, they will go along that space and do and stretch, and they will be doing the jogs, high knees and heel flicks on the spot, so that they're not taking up any extra space. In the main session, if there's a lack of space, for example, on week 3 for the high intensity interval training, I could do high intensity interval training on a treadmill instead, so it doesn't take as much floor space. So for that, they'd do a sprint at full exertion work rate for 10 seconds and then rest for 1 minute, and they'd repeat that 3 times, and then they'd sprint for 20 seconds and rest for 2 minutes and repeat that 3 times. Then they'd rest for 5 minutes and they'd repeat that whole process again. So that would approximately be a 20-minute session, and it again still focuses on their legs and the muscle groups, perhaps even more replicative of the sprinting, but yeah, it focuses on the same muscle groups and gets them working in the same zone as they would have been had I done the plan session. Finally, for the cool down, for example, if there was a lack of space in week 5, I'll get them to jog on the spot for 30 seconds, do high knees for 10 seconds and heel kicks for 10 seconds, and then jog for 20 seconds. And that'll all be on the spot, of course, because there'll be restricted space. And then we'll do some resistance band stretching on a mat. Again, requires very little space. So they'd do lunges, 10 reps of that. Front raises, 10 reps of that. Donkey kicks for 10 reps. Glute bridge for 5 reps. Hamstring stretch for 10 reps. And quadricep stretch for 10 reps. Again, using the exact same muscle groups as would have done, but just in a smaller space and more confined and restricted space. So an overview of the session, of the program, is that we have 2 sessions on the first week of plyometric training, same again for the second week. Third week you add high intensity interval training on a Wednesday. Fourth week you add plyometric training, so another session. Then you have recovery work on week 5 here, so that's foam rolling, and then you have resistance bands recovery work on week 6. Those are the main changes that are made, and obviously throughout the course of the weeks, you can see that the content of the sessions changes as well, so the actual activities that are done change, and also the intensity, frequency, and duration change as well. So the number of reps and sets change with the weeks as well, to make sure that we're progressively overloading the client and making sure that we're pushing them to the point where their muscles have to work harder, so that they have to adapt to compensate for the increased demand. Otherwise there will be no progress made, and the client won't reach their goal of achieving more muscle mass, and they won't achieve our agreed goal of increasing the distance that they jump and the power that they exert. So overall, that is the program.